Hello, so today I'm going to talk about red flag number 20, and this next batch of flags that I'm going to talk about are the flags that you'll tend to encounter more as you get more deeper into a relationship. So all the ones I've covered so far have been flags that will show up very early on, when you meet someone in the initial sort of dates, all those flags will show up. Once you're a little bit more committed in the relationship, then things start to get much more difficult and a lot more flags show up. So all of this is based on the assumption that, okay, let's say they've passed your initial stages and you've kind of given them the benefit of the doubt. You've had those few extra dates with them. Maybe they've been on their best behavior. Certainly they are showing displays of affection and adoration like no one ever has before. And they're kind of making you walk up there on cloud 9 every minute of the day. You might even be head over heels in love with them at this point. And, now the relationship is full on, you're in. Maybe you've ignored several red flags. I know you will have, because narcissistic seduction is that powerful. Even when you felt the warnings, you felt them, they're there, but maybe the sexual, the emotional pull was just too strong to ignore, and you just couldn't resist it and you couldn't help yourself. And ironically, that powerful feeling, that pull that is so beautiful in the beginning, will be what comes back to haunt you in the future, and it will keep you imprisoned in a relationship with a person who is pathologically wired to destroy you. That's when you get to that awful trauma bonded stage. And that's something I will talk about much later on, because it's a flag of abuse much later on in the book and in the series of videos, but I just wanted to mention it now. But for now, let's say it's all sunshine and roses and everything is marvelous, even though it's the love bombing phase. Now, how long this honeymoon or love bombing stage goes on for kind of varies from one narcissist to the next and one relationship to the next. It could be a matter of weeks, it could be months, or it could even go on for years. But you've still got to hang on, because you're not out of the woods yet. You still need to remain in detective mode until you can be really sure that this person has passed all your tests with flying colors as you progress deeper into the relationship. So in addition to all the flags that I've talked about in this series of videos, there are these new ones that show up during this phase. So over the next 7 videos, I'm going to be sharing those with you. So today it's red flag number 20, and it's that they want to move in with you, marry you, and get pregnant. And it could be all of those 3 things, or it could be any one of those things, individually. Now, a lot of romantic predators are not afraid of commitment in the way you might think. They can be completely the opposite. And they might start talking about moving in together, marriage, and having babies like way too soon in the relationship. So if they're doing this, don't be just wary, just get out. Don't mistake these ploys as proof, which is so easily done. Oh, but he wants to marry me. Oh, but she wants to marry me. They must love me. They want to have kids with me. Don't fall for it. Not if this is way too early in the relationship, okay? If they tell you they want to spend the rest of their life with you and have children with you, that is a very powerful hook, especially if that's what you want. You want to be married, you want to have a lifelong commitment, you want to have kids. All of these things you need to be aware of, okay? And the reason is because that's not why they're doing it. They're not doing it because they want to spend the rest of their life with you and they love you and they want your children. Unfortunately and horribly, the truth is they have another agenda. And you really need to understand what's going on there in their heads And the reason they do this, want to make this massive commitment to you, is because they want to secure you as a long-term supply of fuel. And when they ask you to commit to them in this way, they've already determined that you're an excellent source of narcissistic supply. But what this means is that you're going to suffer more emotional damage than you can possibly imagine. So let's just have a look at some of these issues and really think about these if they start happening, because you could just save yourself from so much emotional damage. So they want to move in with you. Now, this might be very tempting for you because, of course, you'll see it as the sign that I've just mentioned, that they're really serious about you and they're really serious about the relationship. So they must be in love with you, right? And this makes you feel so good, and it strengthens that growing bond that you have with them. And you'll feel overjoyed that they want to make this commitment and take the relationship to the next level. But what I say is stop. Their reasons for wanting to move in with you are usually far more sinister and certainly not very romantic. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to go through some of those benefits with you now. Moving in with you actually provides them with a host of benefits that won't even have crossed your mind at this stage. So I'm going to talk about the main ones. These are things I've heard frequently from my clients, from my group members, and from other sources. And these are all real reasons. So don't imagine for 1 minute that I'm exaggerating here or I'm making this stuff up, because I promise you I'm not. I encounter this every single day. So one of the first reasons they want to move in with you is snooping. So by living in your place, they can find out a lot more about you. When you're not around, they have unfettered access to snoop through all your personal diaries, personal items, and they'll read your old diaries, your old love letters. They'll access your computer. And one thing they'll often do is casually hover over you when you go to log into your computer, or to your laptop, and they'll memorize your password. And it's very, very easily done when you're an unsuspecting, trusting person. And, they might touch your shoulder, or they might kiss the top of your head, or murmur some endearments into your ear. And that will kind of distract you from the fact that you're typing in your password and they can see it. And what they can learn about you there gives them more power and control over you, and you don't even know it. So snooping is one to be very careful about. Another reason they want to move in with you is because it's cheap. It's cheap. The reason is when they move in with you, let's say it's your place, you're paying the rent, they don't have to pay rent or utilities or anything. And I actually go into more about this aspect in red flag number 25, a bit later on, which is they financially abuse you. And they do big time. But this is kind of how it can start, very subtly. Well, they've moved in, but they're not paying for anything. Now, at this point, again, you may have no idea that you are dealing with a relentless freeloader. So they might help out around the house, and they might buy a few little gifts for your home here and there. And such actions, particularly in the beginning when they might do it, lull you into this false sense of security. But I guarantee you it won't last long, and they're only doing this just to gain more confidence with you. Another reason is you're the caregiver. So in no time, they've moved in, they're probably not paying anything to be there, and you'll be doing their washing and ironing and cleaning the house and cooking. And this applies equally. I'm not just talking about the women at home having to do this. This happens just as much to the guys who are being abused, sucked in by a female narcissist. They get the whole brunt of it. Being a man doesn't make them immune. It doesn't mean that they don't get all this landed on them, because believe me, they do. So you'll be totally tied up with all of that. And they'll just be too busy, or they'll be tied up with their work, or they'll be doing some other menial tasks, and they'll make excuses. Oh, they'll even compliment you. Oh, but you do it so much better than me. Oh, you're so amazing at doing X, Y, Z. This is what they do, so you got to watch out for this, okay? Pisses me off, frankly. Anyway, if you're dealing with a vulnerable narcissist, and the vulnerable narcissists are the ones who are very likely to be pushing you in this category. They want to get married. They want to have kids with you. They want that commitment, and they really do want the commitment. But the reason they want it is because they want you to be taking care of them the whole time. So if you've got one of these types and you've moved in with them, they won't do anything. They're unbelievably lazy, and they'll keep giving excuses. They feel too tired, or they're unwell, or they're depressed. And you just slide into this permanent caregiver mode, and you do the work because it's what you do. It's just as if you were looking after the kids, okay? Now, another reason that they might want to move in with you is that they can basically flee whenever they want to. Many narcissists, particularly, the elite narcissists, the superior, super clever ones who are at the kind of top of the pole, they very often tend to keep their own homes, which, by the way, you will probably never get to see, or you very rarely ever get to see. And they do this so that they can flee whenever they want or need to. And they'll usually do their disappearing acts during the devaluing stage, when they want to punish you, and they need to have their own little escape pod for this, their little bolt hole. And also when they want to discard you, it's just so easy for them, isn't it? To just walk out the door and toddle back to their own place and forget all about you. So those are some of the basic hidden reasons why they might be pushing. Okay, so in my book, of course, I go into more details about all of these issues, but I want to talk a little bit more about why they want to marry you, apart from the reasons I've just said, or to get pregnant. What's all that about? Yeah, they want to move in with you, and I've just given you the reasons, some of the reasons why that might be, but they want to marry you, they want you to have their child, or they want, what's that all about? What's going on there? Now, these are the big guns of the romantic predator. And it's because they both signify, a lifetime commitment. So this is the serious, this is stuff that's serious, relationships-wise, getting married, having kids. These are big, big commitments. So why would anyone suggest marriage and children if they weren't serious? And the reason is because if they can bind you emotionally, financially, and legally to them, it makes it much harder for you to break free of them. And when you do wake up and decide to divorce them, then watch out, because you're in for absolute hell. So if you're a woman dating a guy, he will talk about how much he wants children and how much he wants your children. And this is a powerful emotional pull for any woman who really does long for a baby and wants to have kids. So how do you resist a man that you're in love with and who wants your baby? Now, if you're a man dating a female narcissist, you can very, very easily find yourself with a pregnant girlfriend. And obviously, I don't need to explain how. Now, why is the question you might be asking? Why would they do this? And again, it comes back to, they do this to bind you to them and keep you and any children who might be born in the relationship as supply. And I know this, this sounds callous and offensive, even as I say it, but it's the raw, horrible truth. They don't love you or care for you or the children. They only see you and the children as a means of supplying them with fuel. That is the hard, cold reality of it. And it's very, very painful when you start to realize that, if you're already deep in the relationship and all that's happened. This is a brutal, painful truth that you have to come to terms with if you're ever to move on and break free of them. So how do you avoid that? And I'm going to make this very brief, as this was a bit longer than usual. But anyway, yes, so what to do? You need to be highly, highly suspicious of any early desire to move in with you, to marry you, or to have children with you, or any combination of those. So getting to this stage, when you think about it, getting to this stage in any normal relationship, it takes time. And suggesting it after only knowing you a few weeks or even a couple of months is just not normal. So ask yourself, why is this person in such a rush? What's the hurry? Get your head out of the clouds and put your ego in a box. This is not realistic. So tune into yourself and listen to those warning bells. Trust your gut that deep down is telling you what you already know. Especially if you've seen these other red flags, some of which I've, lots of which I've talked about. If you've identified those too, do not fall for this. Do not agree to get married or get pregnant. Now, if you already have children from another relationship, they may well say that they want to legally adopt them. This can also be a very, very powerful motivator to con you into believing that they're in it for the long haul, that they want you and your children to be safe and secure and happy. Again, do not fall for it. If they get legal rights to anything in your life, your precious children included, this will make it much, much more difficult to untangle yourself from them in the end. So I hope that you found that helpful and interesting, and I do encourage you and urge you to get to know all these flags. Come back and visit me again very soon, because I'm posting flags all the way through up to the 50. Thank you very much. I'll see you again soon. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that, that flag useful to know about. So my name's Maria McMahon. I'm a clinical NLP hypnotherapist, and I help women and men who are trying to overcome narcissistic abuse. I have 2 Facebook groups. One is for guys, it's private group, guys only. One is for women, also private group, women only. So what I'll do is I'll put a link below the video, some links about how you'd like, if you wanted to connect with me, how you'll be able to connect with me. I'll also put a link to the book, which is currently on Amazon for just 99 cents, so it's pretty cheap. Now, if you found this video helpful, please like and comment and subscribe, and come back soon for more red flags, because every Monday, Wednesday and Thursday I'll be posting until I get through all the 50. Okay, so thank you very much again, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.